Well, welcome to another GiveSI Nonprofit Spotlight. Now, remember, you can donate right now at GiveSI.com. But we're here to learn a little bit more about the nonprofit organizations. I'm joined now by Sarah. Sarah, will you tell us who you're with and tell us a little bit about your nonprofit?
Yeah, so like you said, my name's Sarah Anderson. I am the executive director at the Franklin Williamson Child Advocacy Center. We're located in a quaint little older house in Heron, Illinois, and we serve child victims of physical abuse, sexual abuse, and then child witnesses to homicides or other violent crimes within the Franklin and Williamson counties.
Wow. Okay. So, a very important nonprofit. Now, that's kind of the blanket explanation. Will you tell us really what your nonprofit does for children?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So we are kind of known for our forensic interviews. So whenever a child discloses or there is a report of suspected abuse made, that child comes to us and we gather all the details of what has happened. And so it's just nice because then the kid comes talk to a trained forensic interviewer. We're trained in child development, how to ask questions that can hold up in court.
Sure.
And it's just more comfortable for that kid to come in and talk in a neutral setting other than going to a police station where they feel like they might be interviewed. And so that's kind of the first step of where we get involved. And after that, we continue to coordinate that case with law enforcement, DCFS, state's attorney's office, medical providers, mental health, and just make sure that our team stays on the same page throughout the investigation.
Do you stay with that child throughout?
We do. So we actually, whether the case is open for 5 days, 5 weeks, we've had cases open for 7 years. And that's where another really important service of ours comes in is our advocacy services. So at the forensic interview, the family is assigned a child advocate, and that person stays with them through the entire investigation until court is resolved, till sentencing, or just until that investigation's closed and there's no other services needed.
That's kind of, as you said, no better name for it. They're an advocate.
Yep.
All right. You had something else you want to share?
I was just going to say, like I said, we're known for those forensic interviews, but the forensic interviews are one day. We gather all of that so that the kid doesn't have to retell their story over and over. It's video recorded, audio recorded. That way, if our team has questions, they can go back and visit that instead of re-interviewing the child. And our goal is that they only have to relive those details once.
Yeah.
But our advocate services, it's really just, those are the most important to the families because it's who helps them walk through the system. It's confusing. There's a lot of language that they might not understand.
I bet.
And like I said, our forensic interviews are that one day, but our advocacy services can last years upon years.
Wow. Okay. Well, and so both services sound like they are tremendously impactful to the children within the services. So, wow.
Absolutely.
Well, tell us a little bit, if you don't mind, Sarah, about GiveSI and working with your organization.
Whenever the community comes and supports us like this, I always say we're a nonprofit, so we're grant funded, and those grants really tackle our core services.
Okay.
But core services don't always equal basic needs for children.
Okay.
And so while we get grants to help us run those forensic interviews, to coordinate our team, provide those advocacy services and counseling to the children, it doesn't always help whenever we have a kid that's been at our center for 3-4 hours right during lunchtime. So when the community comes and supports us in these ways, that helps us buy pizza for the kid that might be hungry, or it helps us make sure that every kid leaves our center with a book bag full of personal hygiene items, some coloring books, crayons, things to call their own.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yep.
Some things that are their own personal items that they can take with them.
Exactly. And it's just their whole life has kind of been disrupted after something like this has happened.
Right.
So just to put a little bit of normalcy back into their life, send them off with things to call their own, it means the world to them.
I'm sure it does. Wow. And we probably don't even understand that.
Right.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about your fundraising goal. Is there a goal for this campaign?
We set our goal at $1,000. I think that's kind of what we keep. at each year. And so that just gives us a nice little pocket of money so that when we do have kids come to our center, that we have those funds that we can tap into of when interviews are running long or we've got 3 or 4 in a day, that we can buy the lunch, or if a kid needs something, I can say, yep, we've got that extra funding here to meet those basic needs that our grants don't always cover.
Okay, so it's basically you're able to fill those little gaps with this money. Okay. Is there any little story that you would want to share, a personal story that you think would be impactful right now?
One thing that I always share is that just our center, this is specifically what we're trained to do. And so whenever I go out and I talk in the community, I never get mad that people haven't heard about us. And I always tell them it makes me happy because that means that you haven't needed us. But we're here, and that means the world to families whenever they do need us. And we take endless trainings just to make sure that we're up on all the current needs, current practices. Our forensic interview training is ongoing. And so we just really specialize in this area. We had a kiddo earlier this year, and abuse doesn't, it can happen in any community. It can happen to anybody. But we do always see the signs of sometimes more children are more at risk if they fall into XYZ categories. And we had a nonverbal kiddo that used flashcards to communicate. And unfortunately, sometimes that makes the perfect victim because they can't tell. But we were able to coordinate with the school. We got the flashcards that they used. Police department brought them to us. And we were able to use those flashcards in an interview and get a full disclosure. Police went on to do their work, and then it actually upheld in court, and there was a conviction. And so just without our services, we don't know what might have happened. Because we really will never take credit working on our own. It's always a team. And so just to see the team work together, DCFS and law enforcement, get those flashcards, bring them to us, and we really let that child find their voice and tell their story despite the circumstances.
You absolutely did. In a circumstance where it seems like they may have inadvertently fallen between the cracks because of communication barriers. Wow, Sarah, that's a fantastic story. To see A to Z how you were able to help with that. Was there anything else that you would like to add, either about the GiveSI campaign?
No, I would just like to thank the chance for the CAC to come in and talk and get this chance to kind of tell a little bit more about our community. Like I always say, we don't go out and we don't recruit. And so it's just hard for us to really tell what we do. And so we're kind of a hidden gem, but chances like this really just help the community know that we're here for them, and in the chance that they ever need us, that they're at least familiar and they say, hey, I've heard of them. Like, I feel comfortable going to them.
Sarah, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, for more information, please go to givesi.org. That's where you can donate. You can support the many vital services in our community. GiveSI for good, forever, for Southern Illinois.
GiveSI is made possible by Oasis. We More Better. Video services provided by ManVoice. Additional funding for GiveSI is made possible by these sponsors.